Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.
Let's do it right. I know I've kind of already recorded. Let's do it. Welcome everybody to episode 6 of Banana and Bears Rugby Pod. I'm Tom O'Mahony, and the person adding legitimacy to this whole thing is Anna Capeless. She's over the other side. So we have you back in front of your Anchorman studio, many leather-bound books.
My leather-bound bookshelf, yeah, because I'm home in Mallow. I'm home in Mallow for a stint. Because I was home last week for the wedding.
Yeah, and then we were in the car. We were in the car last week.
And then I was in the car, yes. So catching from the car last week in Dublin, in Mallow this week. So I went back to Spain at the weekend to play a match.
Oh, did you? Stop.
Yeah. We won. It was good, actually.
Class.
Then I came back again. You could tell I wrecked. Jesus, you'd swear I was 23.
Do you know
I'm actually 24.
Yeah, well, I was of the same inkling. Do you know what? The only thing that's keeping me going, driving a lot these days, and this is very old, is ginseng. It's the only thing. Ginseng gives you it gives you an extra 2 hours on the road, no bother. But I
take something like that. It's called Guinness.
Oh yes, yeah. I'm fond of it myself. It goes great with the driving. Great. Drink responsibly, everybody. Drink responsibly.
No. Jokes. And anyway, if I'm at home, if I'm up in Derry Murphy's, I'll be having Murphy's anyway.
Oh,
but I'm home this. Of course, they serve it in a lovely glass as well. Anyone who follows me, they'll see I always post a little Instagram story of my pints above in Derry's because they look great. Like,
do you know, there should be more of a drive. You know, the drive, you talked about it only the other day. You talked about the drive that very smart companies made maybe 7 or 8 years ago, going, we're missing out on the female market here. And all of a sudden Guinness got it appealed to women. Because 10 years ago, pints were only drank by hairy old men. And all of a sudden you're seeing like good looking women on a night out just with a pint of Guinness. And it looks great. And Murphy's haven't gone down that route, or have they?
Well, I would disagree with that. That Murphy's now, the Murphy's that you get, it depends where you get it now, but they serve it in a lovely glass. Oh. And kind of like, that you'd get kind of some French beers in, like with a short stem, and it looks lovely and it tastes lovely. It's all in your head, but you know what the mentality around it is, like the same with how gin and tonics have taken off. Like everyone wants the big glass with the berries floating around, like it looks so nice. That's why people want it. So Murphy's have done a good job with that. But going back to like a pint of Guinness there now, women should be drinking Guinness. And you know what? This is the perfect intro to the podcast, because I'll tell you why I'm back in Ireland this week is because I'm doing events for International Women's Day.
Yes.
So I recorded it. We'll get back to this in a second, but I cheated on you this week. Actually,
I didn't want to say it, like, but it's clearly an open relationship that I didn't know about.
I didn't make it clear. It's not very.
To find it out on Instagram actually was really rough. But
No, I told you beforehand. Anyway, we'll get back to that in a second. That's not what I was going for, because I need to tell you about the Guinness thing. But anyway, today I did a corporate talk in Cork for International Women's Day, which was brilliant. And then tomorrow I'm playing golf in Druids Glen with
lovely
load of other Irish female athletes, and we did it last year as well, and it was brilliant. So off to Druids Glen tomorrow for myself. So it's International Women's Day. Well, it'll be International Women's Day today, the day when our podcast goes out. So happy International Women's Day to all our listeners. But this is interesting now, and I would implore everyone to buy a pint today, because this actually was a story told when through like Gabe Burns radio show used to be very influential on the people of Ireland. And like one of the stories that was told on the program about this, there was a woman in Dublin who she'd had a baby, and Guinness used to be kind of recommended for replacing levels of iron and all the rest. And she went into a pub in Dublin and she asked for a pint of Guinness, and they said no, women aren't allowed to drink pints. Women are only allowed to drink half pint. And she's like, but I want a pint. And he was like, well, I can serve you 2 half pints. And she's like, well, that's more expensive. So this is actually discrimination, that you're serving me 2.5 pints instead of just give me the 1 pint. And they said no.
Yes.
So it used to be more expensive for women to drink in general, and drink Guinness in Ireland. And she rang up the Gay Burn show, and there was this big debate, and it was all very hotly topical, and they changed that law. So actually women should be drinking pints, because it used to be against the law for us to do so. So all the women, get your pints, get your iron into you. I adore drinking pints of Guinness and Murphy's and like Irish stout. And that makes it taste even better. So here's to a pint now for everyone for International Women's Day. I'll have one tomorrow for sure.
And we are sponsored, it would seem, by Guinness at the moment. So I'm delighted by that. It's anybody wants to. Do you know, you're 100% right. My wife always said, like, Natasha, she always liked to sup, but she doesn't drink anymore. She just kind of went, yeah, you know, like she goes, but she was always thought it was delicious. But I got her a pint one time. I said, "Well, drink a pint of it. Don't be supping out of mine." And like that, she went, "You know what the problem with this is? It's too fucking delicious. I could see myself enjoying these way too much." But Murphy's, I like Murphy's. To me, is almost like what you did to me on this podcast, that you went off and did the dirt on Banana and Bear podcast by going to that other one. There's something about Murphy's I always feel a bit bowled, because you can only really do it down in Cork, and Cork is kind of like it's like the Tijuana of Ireland, in that
literally just thought of that. Yeah,
it's just over the border of reality, and you head into a space where Cork people are okay being a microcosm all by themselves. Like, Cork could break off and be fine. It could break off and float down a bit south, maybe get a bit warmer, and just be grand. Yeah. And it's kind of like that when you're down in Cork. It's like, oh Jesus, now I'll have a pint of Murphy's. And not to drag up old sad news, but that chipper that I went to, they used to do amazing chips. They used to have this scenario that if you showed up and you wanted a good feed, they didn't have a big enough space. So what the chef would do is go across the road to the Cork Arms, which is an ancient old man's pub beside the Metropole, class joint. You'd go in the door, your one would know about ahead in you that you were after ordering a burger and chips, and it was going to be dropped over, and she'd lay out fork and knife for you, and without asking you, she'd drop you down a pint of Murphy's. Now, you paid for the pint of Murphy's, but at the same time, it was like, you know, you kind of wanted to be I felt like I was being wined and dined, even though I was paying. You know, that kind of way I felt special. And the Murphys just went down.
That's very cool. Does that still happen?
Not at all. I'd say not. After the disappointment I had the other day. Maybe it does. But it's
Cork Arms is a fabulous pub, though. We went there on the day my sister got married officially in the registry in Cork. Yeah. We actually retraced all the steps of her and her husband's first date, and the last stop of it was the Cork Arms, and we ended up in the Cork Arms because
that's such a thoughtful thing that you would do. You would do that. You go, you guys, I'm after coming up with this creative idea of really nice.
No, it wasn't my idea.
Oh, wasn't it? All right.
No. But a great idea, and we had a feckin' great time. Because there's a jukebox in there with a great sing song, but a serious Cork pub. We should honestly, we need to do Banana and Bear's pub crawl.
I already have I have my own comedy club, so we have a stage in Tipperary. We'll do a Tipperary one as well. So we have my own comedy club in Care, and they are Rugby Bananas. The owners are Rugby Bananas inside there. So as soon as
we need to do a live show then.
Oh yeah. The Hill Comedy Club. The owner Tommy was like, "Hey, there is. Are you after starting a rugby podcast?" Jesus Christ! I listened to that immediately. I was like, hey, "We're not hardcore, we're kind of funny." Anyway, I don't give a shit. I want all the rugby you got. Hey, would you do a live podcast here? And we'll just fill it with people. I went, okay.
Were you going to tell me about this?
This is only the other night after the show was and we're having a Venn diagram of listeners who do come to the club and stuff like that. So people were kind of going, Deirdre O'Kane sold out in 3 days, gang. So stop messaging. Got it in 3 days. This is the first podcast, and I've been involved in loads. This is the first one that has fervent listeners, Anna. Our numbers are growing every week, but we actually have listeners. Last Wednesday, I had set the time wrong on the publish. It was for some reason it was to come out at like 6 a.m., but I put like 6 p.m. and I didn't spot it until like midday. And I had 5 messages from people, 2 of which I won't lie, they were a bit snippy, and I liked it in one way. I was like, they were a bit like one in particular was like, any old rugby going today at all? Not. I was, oh Jesus Christ. But the rest were all like, hey, I'm just wondering, is Spotify working my end? And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Great.
It was great.
I need to tell you as well, my friend got in touch. My friend Foxy, shout out to Foxy if you're listening this week.
How are you, Foxy?
In Vienna. I used to play rugby with him in Vienna. And
Chinook, on Chinook. Well, I don't know what Foxy... What would be the E of something in Irish? How do you E something up in Irish? How does it become a verb?
Shinnockach.
Shinnockach. Perfect.
There he is.
I much prefer the word Shinnock than Fox. I think it's a much more fun word. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a great word to say. He wrote to me and he was like, "Oh, I've been listening to your podcast." He was like, "You didn't. Your intro wasn't really clear. Are you playing rugby in Russia?"
This is the wealthiest podcast ever.
Because obviously he was like,
getting my Putin money.
He was like, I couldn't really follow. He was like, but you were talking about Vladimir Putin in the first episode. Vladimir
Putin. You play rugby? Yes, very good woman rugby player. It's like I love. People use that thing on. You can use the audio on TikTok, and you can kind of do it on Instagram now of somebody else's video. And there's this great there's this great one of this really strong looking woman doing like one-handed push-ups in the snow. She goes, I don't want to be pretty like 60 men. I want to be strong like scary bitch that fights bear in forest or something like that. I was like, I would like to use that
it's
myself.
So good.
Yeah.
I love it.
You come on, out with it, come clean. You were milking outside. You were milking outside the bucket. That's my mother would say.
Desperate. I actually thought I had told you, but what's the gassest thing about it? And like, hello to anyone who has jumped across from House of Rugby, because they gave us a big plug.
Great.
But last week, I was talking about listening to House of Rugby, and I listened to like lots of rugby podcasts. I was talking about Lindsay Peat, and I was referring to something that she had said, and I had said, and I was like, Lindsay Peat on that podcast, what's it called again? And then I was going on House of Rugby on the Monday night.
Shock Rugby. On Shock Rugby.
Yeah, with Lindsay and Greg, which was fabulous, to be fair, because obviously Lindsay's an old teammate and an old friend, and I'm mad about her and I miss her so much. And Greg, I used to coach with Greg in Limerick, so we go way back as well. So it was great to see him. I hadn't seen him in ages. And had a great old catch up about rugby, and it was funny actually. We were talking about on the podcast.
Oh, it's funny, was it? Osher, Grant, yeah, fine.
Not like comedy funny. It was just I made a fool of myself. You'll feel better about yourself now when I tell you what I said, because they were talking about like they had some guest on, some fella that used to play rugby. Brian O'Driscoll is his name, I think. He was sharing. Yeah, neither did I. He shared like his most exciting rugby players in the world at the moment. Greg was like, "Okay, who would we say?" And it was like DuPont, Finn Russell, and I was like, Tyke Furlong.
Yes.
And he was like, "Oh, what?" And I was like, "Yeah." Why not? I don't want to give. I actually then Greg was like, or Capuzzo, and I was like, oh damn it, I should have said Capuzzo, who, by the way, is out for the rest of the Six Nations.
How did he get injured? Like, you think a fella like him was like a rubber band?
Yeah, don't know. Has he even come off in any of the games?
No.
He's given it 110 every weekend, isn't he? So
I keep getting clips. I keep getting clips of him playing. He plays with Toulouse, is it? I mean, just watch. Like, I keep getting clips of him because we're obviously talking about him so often. But his tries every one of his tries are like, that's another showstopper. It's like DJ Khaled is like, and another one. Every one of them is like, this guy puts so much joy in sport. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, there's so much happiness watching this absolute ball. But that quick twitch can catch up with you too, like, because he's got that quick twitch muscle fiber. And it's like,
he's fabulous. As long as he's, you know, right for the World Cup. I actually need to read a bit more into his injury, but I'm devastated. I'm devastated. He's out now for the rest of Six Nations. But they didn't like it at all. You know me now, and our listeners will know me, and probably everyone gets really mad at me when I'm kind of trying to be a bit like diplomatic about the whole look. We'll win or we'll lose or we'll draw, and it doesn't matter now because the World Cup's coming up and blah blah blah. Well, they didn't like that at all in House of Rugby. They're like, what? Anna, because I was trying to say, we were talking about Scotland, and Scotland could be a threat this weekend and all the rest, and I was like, look lads, doesn't matter. And they were like, Anna, come on, like they weren't happy with it at all. So I know we probably have a lot of listeners as well that are sick of listening to me trying to be so kind of diplomatic about it. But I mean it. I don't care what happens as long as we do well in the World Cup. I mean it. I don't want to be looking back, celebrating this Six Nations and come flying out of the World Cup like a fly out the window.
Yeah, it's good for nothing unless we actually go beyond the quarterfinal at the minute. But you know what you've done over the last few weeks? You've reignited. I mean, I was very excited about the Six Nations, but you've actually reignited my notion of like the kind of excitement I used to get playing actual rugby. I knew I was never going to be an international race, but the fun and watching the likes of Kaputsa, you're going, I would watch that fella play for Kilfeacle, or you know what I mean, or band. Like it just, if somebody is having that and something. And I know we're not getting into provincial set up or talk, but tip of the cap to all four provinces won. But watching the anger that so many people had at Munster's second half at the weekend, and you're like, hold on. And I tweeted about it, and it got a bunch. It's one of the most popular tweets in a long time. I was like, the fuck are you all talking about? They scored 107 points in 2 games. This is the stuff that puts arse in seats. The whole audience is full of youngsters who are going bananas. Everybody on the team looks like they're having genuinely look like every time it comes to a stop, they're smiling, going, "This is class, and this is fucking class." They all look like they're just that there's no not that there shouldn't be aspirations for Ireland or I'm not playing with Ireland. They all look like they're going, "This is class. We're playing," and they shipped a rake of points in the second half. They still won, but they shipped a rake of points by moving fellas into wrong positions, throwing lads out in every which way. But it looked like pure happy joy in Cork on a Friday night. Like you're going, what's better than that? Who gives a shite about winning? Actually, kind of came secondary to the crack everybody looked like they were having. Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it. Like when you're winning, I get frustrated with coaches because coaches kind of do this a lot. They'd only make changes like late in games when you're like winning by a cricket score. Or kind of happened to us with us in Spain this weekend, and players are sad because they're given so much time to training and they don't get much game time. But if you can just kind of let the reins loose a small bit and trust people and try things, because if you're not trying stuff, well then you're just remaining stagnant. You're the same team next week as you are this week, so I completely agree with you. And they ran away with a few tries, and it started to kind of come down to the wire a bit, but that's what you want that excitement. So I'm good. I'm glad you said that now, that it's kind of reigniting that in you. And I think a lot of that comes from me as a player, how much we were kind of, especially in Ireland now, we were kind of given very strict way of playing, and especially in my last few years, to kind of told okay, when you come out of this line out in this part of the pitch, you have to be in this ruck at that time and in this play, and very, very structured. And it was difficult for me, and I kind of lost a bit of I remember saying to the coach, and I spoke to him very frankly about it, I was like, you've picked me because I can play rugby, but now you're telling me exactly what to do at exactly the right moment. That to me doesn't make sense. I think you could put any fool in here and that could do that job for you, and you're not using my rugby brains at all. So I think that when it starts to do, what you're saying there, trying different things, trying things out of position, okay, go for it. that's what you need as a player. That's what you
Yeah.
need. And then as a supporter, and like to see smiles on faces and stuff. Like, it's all easy to say when you're winning, and when you can still pull a win out the bag, like, it's kind of easier to say that. But actually
True.
at the same
Yeah.
time, if you lose, doesn't doesn't matter, unless it's kind of then started to affect like rankings and stuff. But for Munster, it obviously hasn't, and they were still managing to get a win in the bag. So yeah, fair play.
Brilliant. It was a joy. And everybody, in all fairness, I was able to catch highlights of most of the others. I mean, Leinster did what Leinster always do. But I mean, they're unbelievably well. But again, they're well structured, but at the same time, they're unbelievably well disciplined in I suppose, the mental stakes, but they don't come the foot does not come off the throttle at all. Like, they're just like, you know what I mean? It's
kind
just
of
like,
different to them, but they're still enjoying it anyway. It seems
oh,
they're loving it as well.
you look at Jordan Lammer just dancing. Actually, I'd say he's an unreal dancer, actually, the bastard. I'd say he's unreal. And he plays the piano, and he's a very good singer. I say he's an unreal kisser as well. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying he probably is. But
I wasn't expecting that. Do you know what? I actually, I was talking to there on the way home. I was just coming home from Cork there. Do you know what song came on the radio? And I literally just blasted it out. And I need to learn it on the piano, because we had a piano sing song at the wedding there last weekend. So I need to learn this on the piano. Somebody to Love by Queen.
Oh my God. What a tune. You could play that
had a
5 o'clock in the morning driving, or 12 o'clock at night. Like,
somebody, and then it goes like, find me, and it's like slows down, it goes really quiet, and it builds up again, and it's all these layers of voices, and like the guitar solo and the piano and Freddie Mercury. I was loving it. You
know, maybe they could just play that along with alongside a rugby match, you know, in tune with the rugby match, just experimentally, maybe at a sevens tournament in some fun place, have banging ballads like that just playing.
They do, I'd say, for sevens. I'd say throw it out down in Musgrave Park.
Yeah,
actually, a very funny article, someone writing about like the music and the kind of disco music they throw on at like stadiums now, and how this fella who was writing hates it, and like there was some injured fella on the floor, and like it looked really bad and really serious, and they were playing it on the screen, and then like Shots by LMFAO was playing out over the
and it looks like his crucial just said chat.
Everybody. I couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny.
I remember the and I do like pomp and stuff like that, but I'm okay as an old man kind of to just watch rugby for rugby if players look like they're having a good time and everybody looks like they're having a good. But I remember the grossest time I was ever at a match was a Munster-Leinster match years ago. Yes, Munster lost, but at the same time it was like they had cheerleaders, they had flames and stuff, and you're like, oh God, what is this? No. We're gonna have planes fly over as well. Like, we don't need this. Not this extent. It's fine.
No, it's interesting because different teams try different things at different stages throughout, their campaigns, and I suppose different people coming into media roles will try stuff, and I think it's kind of great because you might strike gold at some stage, and some stadium might be known for something like having a plane fly over. That's a big Dubai Sevens thing.
Right.
To get Emirates to fly over, because obviously it's sponsored by Emirates, and it's a huge moment in the weekend, and it's so cool.
I knew I had something to tell you. I had a mini dream the other night that we were at the World Cup. We were obviously sponsored by somebody cool like Guinness or somebody like that. We were at the World Cup. It was the final. Ireland were down by about 11 points. The place was absolutely we weren't playing anybody in particular. The place was stonewall quiet. Peter O'Mahony was down, right? Looked like he was shot.
Shots.
But then you came up with something that they're looking for at the minute. They're looking for a chant. Do you know the way, like Ireland doesn't have a chant. There's no chant in Ireland. Yeah. Like the French have a chant. Like there's, we have no chant at the minute. And then alone, Anna just started and my brain would not let me go to the creative place and find the chant that you were saying, but something that was coming out of your face.
Anybody Imagine that, and everyone joins in like a Freddie
Oh,
Mercury concert.
well, I think possibly what my brain substitute was Zombie by the Cranberries, which is kind of being used by Munster at the minute. And lo and behold, oh man, he dug himself out of the ground. He was like, I am Groot. There was grass growing out of his arms and everything at this stage. He just threw back the physios and he went on and won the
Out
match.
of my way.
We won the World Cup as a result of it. Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
we need to come up with the chant, because at the moment I heard Jerry Thornley giving out that Ireland have no chant in the middle of a game, and you can't be singing the Fields of Athenry every 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
now, I actually, first of all, when we were chatting there a second ago, you're saying about Capuzzo playing for Kilfeacle or somewhere like that. I need to get out the ukulele now. When I'm back in Spain, I'll bring out the ukulele. I need to tell you the story about one of the French players running off with a girl from Roscommon.
oh yes, yeah.
So that'll have to come down the line. And the other thing I was about to say was, oh yes, people have been talking about this, and someone was talking on Twitter about Molly Malone, that Molly Malone used to be sang for Leinster games and that it was a good one, a good crack. I like Molly Malone, however,
not very
and
intrusive.
I actually learned this from the Mornabbie ladies football team, are a very successful football team, and they've won many All-Irelands. I learned it from these girls, and I'm not sure where they picked it up. So I'm plagiarizing here a small bit, but I have been singing this song for over, oh God, it's 15 years now, because I learned it in TY, I think. Oh Jesus, I just gave away that I wasn't 24. Anyway, it's like people who know me and people who listen to this know this song, because I sing this all the time. It's a great like call and response, like kind of a twist and shout version of Molly Malone.
Oh,
And it's fucking serious crack.
okay.
In terms of chants in a stadium, whether it would work or not, I don't know. But like when we used to go watch the women play in Ashburn, in like when I was still in college, we used to go up to Ashburn, County Meath on a Friday night, like to watch the girls, and like the girls were doing really well. Like they were the kind of the glory days of Irish rugby those years, and like we were like a traveling choir. But what we used to chant, and it actually was great crack, was "Come on, you girls in green." I know it sounds a bit shy, but
it could go with the soccer too. I think we need to find. We need to like. There's definitely something in you. Yeah.
It's a good thing. Might do a bit of research on that and see if we can come up with something.
Do you know, there's definitely, like, when I played with Shannon in college, one of the proudest things, I mean, was singing The Isle afterwards. Do you know, and I mean, it's a song that most people won't. It's a very strange song, actually written by a Scottish nun, apparently. Yeah.
I never knew that.
There you go. Apparently. So anybody who's wondering, just YouTube The Isle, Shannon, and
I love that. We sing that in Bows as well, because you'd always have like girls from like that side of the city like singing "There Is an Isle," and Sean South
is a good one, actually. Yeah, but I suppose it has to be overly inclusive, doesn't it? Suggestions on a postcard too from our listeners. If there's a chant, and maybe it can be, it doesn't have to be an extract maybe from something that's already been sung. It could be along the lines of "Come on, you girls in green, come on, you boys in green," but something. Geez, we got to get good about it. Like, this is tricky. Like, I mean, it's going to be tricky, but if we could get something that would, you know, just bring a whole crowd together. We have to stir the emotions with the Fields of Athenry.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Ole Ole did
Yes.
for Ireland soccer for years.
Yes.
And so many other teams around the world, but Ireland soccer particularly. We'll talk about like the upcoming match there now in a second, but on kind of talking about the "Come on, you girls in green." In my talk today, I was talking in this company in Cork, and kind of, you know, to finish off a talk like that, it's good to kind of include an old call to arms.
Brilliant.
Like give a good something that you can do now, because it's International Women's Week and International Women's Day, and what can we do? So I said to them, I was like, okay, if you want to do something, if you want to help, if you want to be part of this, go to the Women's Six Nations, go to the matches, go with your friends,
great,
go for drinks, get food, make it a big night, make it a thing. Be part of this now, like be part of the smaller crowds, the more personal crowds. Like a lot of people who are there are family, friends, injured players, club players. Like it's a great personal crowd. So like if you want to be part of that, now, do you know, if you think of Katie Taylor, who could in the morning sell 80,000 tickets for Cork
Yeah.
Park, or however many tickets they were planning on selling for her, she'd sell it in the morning. It would sell out. That's one girl, and it just goes back along like how, you know, how successful she's been, and you know how that all leads towards that, and that will happen eventually for Irish women's rugby. I fully believe it.
Oh, well, of course. It will, of course.
And
Yeah.
it will happen, and you'll be standing in a packed out Aviva someday saying to the people next to you or anyone who listen, like, oh, you know, I used to be here when there was only 10,000 people here.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
know,
mean,
so you can be part of it.
you look at, sure, I mean, it was said back, I remember going to Munster, Leinster matches when I was small, and there may be 700 people at it. Now there'd be 5,000 people to go see Gary Owen and Shannon play the following day. But it was one man and his dog stuff. Nobody gave a bollocks about it. And good marketing, that's all it was good marketing, turned everybody's head towards it. You know, male or female, they just turned their heads towards it and went, this could be worth. Heineken threw a ton of smart marketing behind it and got it on board. And that's all it'll take, is people like yourself going. I know my sister would actually love you coming to her company, because she's a big, my two sisters are big drivers of women in business. And we might actually get that set up. Actually, that'd be very cool. Very, very cool.
My card.
I'll give him your card. Don't you worry. I'll just send him a link to this. Tremendous, great. And were you at because there was a women's conference. Was it yesterday or today? It was a meeting for the IRFU women. There was 50 or 60 volunteers showed up for it. I was just briefly reading it this morning. You weren't. You were off cashing in a corporate, and I like that. Anna. You're dead right.
I didn't even know that was on.
No, look at, because you're too big. You're too much of a big shot. No, it's great. What it is it's great, because it's now the tide is turning back to where it should have been. A bad slip up was made, not capitalizing on, as you talked about, the golden era. And now I think everybody's kind of hung their head in shame and went, yeah, that was a proper fuck up. Let's go back. Because
I hope
the smart thing would
right.
be. Oh no, I'm telling you, it is. It would take a blind person could see it was a massive balls up. Even if you just love money, you'll go, hold on, this is an untapped resource.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Even if you don't even like sport, you'd go, this is ludicrous to not be paying.
That's the case, not just with Irish women's rugby, that's the case with women's sports all over the world at the moment. But the resistance to investing in it, it's a weird mentality that people like would throw money at at men's sports, no bother, because they kind of want to be like in with it, and they want to be associated with it, and they don't even care about the return of investment. And for women's sport, and it's so obvious that it's taking off. There's just so much hesitation around investment, and it's very frustrating. And like for me, you know, and it's, you know, look, there was a mess up and a cock up, and it wasn't just one. Like for me, it's been going on a long time, and yes, we could say the tide is turning, but I've thought that the tide has been turning before, and it hasn't. So I'll only believe it when I see it. And like I can see, you know, that they've advertised for new positions for women's rugby to develop it. There's going to be an under-18 women's festival, Six Nations festival, which is like, yes, like that's brilliant. There's going to be there are new things happening. And I'm still, just because of how the last few years have gone for me, which is a waste for me, because it was my time to wear the jersey, and it just was just so much kind of one thing after the other of disappointments. I'll believe it when I see it, and when it's maintained. And because effort has been put in before, and people had all the right intentions before, and then it gets pulled, or then it gets withdrawn, and then something else happens, like a step forward, 2 steps back, or 2 steps forward, 1 step back, like it's constantly how it's felt. So like, good on the people that are putting in the effort, and let's keep it there, and let's continue to ask for more and push for more, and like what we
need is like a Dana White or an Eddie Hearn, who doesn't give a bollocks about gender. They're like, oh, I'm here to make money. So you're all coming up. So you
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
female fighters now are making as much as the men fighters. They're headlining. The
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Eddie
interesting
Hearn's
how
top
it's done.
Eddie Hearn's top fighter right now is Katie Taylor. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's sell out Croke Park. Come on, let's do it. So
God, it's such a strange sport that I just don't understand. Like, when was the last time she fought? Like, it's so weird how that works. I don't know. It's just such an alien kind of thing. But and like,
it's healthy. Like you don't, and possibly, I mean, maybe rugby should be spread out over a longer time too. It's healthy to give long periods off between for head trauma. Like you really have to.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like there was a
Oh
time
no,
when
yeah,
people
not
were.
saying it should be. I just
Yeah,
it's hard
it's
to
an odd one
swallow.
how you can keep the fires burning. Like, you know what I mean? It's an odd one, but I suppose good. It's never been a better sport at promotion, boxing or fight
Mm,
mixed martial arts, which took all its training from boxing. Boxing is the greatest
mm,
promoting sport in the world. Like, but
mm,
anyway, that's
mm.
hear ye, and we are taking sponsorship. We should try and go to a couple of Six Nations. Well, you'll probably be playing. But we should try and go to some of the Women's Six Nations games.
If I can, I'll go definitely.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. But I
brilliant.
do have games in March and a few in April. And after winning last weekend, we've a good chance of making the playoffs. So it may or may not be around. But I'll send you on a mission.
Oh,
Send you down.
brilliant. Yes, I'd love that. I'd
You
love
can
that.
bring a cardboard cutout. You can bring a cardboard
Oh
cutout of
my
me just to
God.
make sure
And
that
just actually, yeah,
anyone important avoids you.
just actually have yeah, I know yeah, I'd be well able to attach it to the side of me and just walk along. Yeah, brilliant. Cardboard cutout
That'd
and
be
just moved
gas.
it. Right. We won't hang around too long because you have to pack your bags. You're literally going back to Spain tomorrow morning. So moving
I've
on
got
to the
golf first.
oh,
Then we're going back
sorry,
to
God from Cruise Glen. Listen to this. Jesus
I
Christ.
know, yeah.
We have
But
up
Six
for
Nations coming back this weekend.
yeah. And up first, fierce exciting, albeit our favorite player is missing, but fierce exciting. Wales and Italy are playing on Saturday up first in Italy. Oh my
Hmm.
Jesus. Oh my I wonder do you think the team could rally? I said the team. I mean, it's not that we don't love Wales and all the rest, but Jesus Christ. Wales, by the way, if anybody hasn't heard, Ealing Trailfinders are throwing the arm around Ospreys and throwing them underneath their skirt and taking on their players and whatnot and going to be
Is
entering
that
the
confirmed?
not confirmed, but they're more or less saying that they have the moolah to do it, but they'll be entering the URC. Ealing Trailfinders who got Kevin O'Byrne, the greatest hair that has ever played from men's
Hands
Munster.
and hair are soft as kittens, and that's it.
Yeah, he looks like Matt Berry, doesn't he? Bat. You truly are the worst bastard in all of New York. It's anyway.
I don't know what that is. I just
Don't
laughed
worry.
because
Yeah, it's you. I guarantee you have seen him. He's so many clips online. It's ridiculous. He was the boss in the IT crowd. Anyway,
oh yes.
Wales play Italy. I wonder I can't see Italy capitulating without Capuzzo, but I mean they would be weaker without him. But they have the out capitulate. It's probably where the name came from. But will they rally and go right? We got to do it for our boy. He's the most exciting player in the Six Nations right now. We got to do it for our boy because Wales are there for if ever they were there for the taking again. 2 years on the hop. Do you remember what he did to him last year? He ran that, I
Yes.
did,
Yeah.
you know.
Liam Williams gave him Player of the Match award.
Yeah.
Was it Liam Williams, one of the backs anyway?
Yeah, a cool guy like Liam Williams would. He's but it's at home for Italy. Wales are on the rack.
I'm almost torn because I feel so sorry for Wales.
Yeah.
I'd almost kind of like to give them a win, but actually, if they're going all out to hit rock bottom, they might as well just lose to Italy in Italy.
Yeah.
So
I'm in agreement. You said it last week. They kind of need to scrape off the bottom. They just need to bounce off the bottom, unfortunately, to shake off all the barnacles of owl fellas that are making a bollocks of the place. And a lot of those salary rumors that were confirmed too that you'd say that you had popped up in your phone was like, Jesus Christ, you go from 200 grand to 30. How's that going to sit? But anyway, I do. I think we're going to probably see an Italian win. And I mean, rugby in Italy, Jesus Christ, talk about an untapped market. Like, they're soccer
Yeah.
mad, but imagine if they started winning international stuff properly. I mean, class.
Okay.
Do you know you get Irish players that want to go abroad? It isn't just England now. They can go to, or France. They can go to Italy. Can you imagine?
God, yeah. Still, it still feels a little bit far away, but yeah.
Well, you see,
Be great, be cool. I thought about playing there myself for a while. It's such a nice lifestyle, and like Italy, what an amazing place. Rugby wise, yeah, we'll see. I don't have too many kind of reservations or thoughts on the game. I just kind of, because I feel like either team could just turn up anyway, either fired up from being so beaten down or beaten down because they've been so beaten down.
I'm in the exact same. I don't really care. I normally have a care here. Well, it's not that I don't care, but I'm torn in the same way you're torn. But it's a game I would very, very much, because this has turned into an absolute soap opera, hasn't it? It's like EastEnders. There's so many all the teams have now a vastly different personality, don't they? Like, everybody's like, you've got the young spunky one that's kind of drives a fast car, and that's Italy right now. You've got the one that's just been dumped and can never, is just playing sad music in the corner. That's Wales.
Crying in the pub to his friends.
Yeah, he's crying, going, like, she just walked out on me, like, and I don't know what to do.
Everyone's like, oh, just delete her number, okay?
Let's do that, right? Let's create.
Everyone's in the pub.
Yeah.
So the young Italy is like dancing in the corner, and they've got like, kind of nice young funky clothes, not really expensive stuff, but like they have a North Face jacket, but they don't have a Rolex. Do you know?
Yes.
And then Wales is just like, but like she's told me she loved me, so she has to mean it somehow. And like,
no, man, it's
crying into their pint and like getting drunk and like falling, and everyone's like, oh God, who's taking him home? Like Dib's not taking him home.
Yeah, he's gonna get sick of the taxi, isn't he? Fuck. Right, we're gonna. Jesus.
And he doesn't have the money to pay for it.
That was a shovel to the back of the head. If that
was kind of more meant the union as opposed to any jibe at any player there, because that's actually genuinely not funny.
Yeah, no.
Right, who else do we have? Right, that's Wales and Italy. We'll when we talk about the other games, we'll size them up as the lads in the pub.
So we have France and England up next. This could be mouth-watering. England have changed tack. It would seem they're changing tack going back to about 5 years ago. They brought George Ford out of. They've taken him basically down off the shelf, and they've sent Mark Smith home. So it would tell you everything you need to know there. There are.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back in the squad, is he?
He's back in. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you're bringing George Ford. Like, I mean, they played well when Farrell played a 12 at Ford, but they played a stock, keeping it simple up.
I don't know what. When do we see teams? Not tomorrow. Well, it depends. They kind of do their own thing now around announcing the teams, but I suppose Thursday if they're playing on Saturday. But did you see any of the big game highlights, like Harlequins in Twickenham at the weekend? Like, Marcus Smith was on fire. Like, he just loves playing for Harlequins. I'm mad about him. I just think he's brilliant.
It's night and day to what two different coaches are giving him the license to do, or absolutely putting shackles on him. But I mean, maybe Borthwick, who I think is he did fine with Leicester for the couple of years he was there, but Jesus Christ, he is not ready for. I can't see how he's ready for the England job. I think he was just a stopgap because Eddie got the chop or whatever. But
who would you put in there instead?
Like they should have moved heaven and earth to go after your man from the Crusaders, Scott Robertson. Like, I mean, heaven and earth. Like, literally give him Devon. Like, whatever he wants. Like, make him a knight. Jesus Christ, whatever he wants. He literally he literally hiked, like, made his skirt shorter and pulled down his cleavage just to he literally said it to the open public, going, yeah, I'd love to play international rugby or coach international rugby in the Northern Hemisphere. Just putting it out there, guys. Just putting it out there. Not saying no, say nothing.
It was surprising when he didn't get the job. I was a bit disappointed. I thought he was going to. And then there was also talks of Raj. Like, Raj also was quoted to say, yeah, he'd coach England, as in, like, he'd take whatever international kind of job he could get to develop himself as a coach, which was shocking when I read that. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Imagine Raj coaching England, but maybe he was just stirring shit. I wonder if any of those coaches were actually approached by England, or England just like, no, we need a homegrown coach here, or which would, I don't know what it was. Actually, I was surprised when your man Scott Robertson wasn't given that job.
If for nothing else, after every win, he breakdances out in the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like, if for nothing else, imagine that guy getting the.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't coach them. Yeah.
Yeah. What else does imagine the whole crowd watching on and there the coach walks out and the whole crowd just watching this guy breakdance. Not particularly great breakdancer, which I'd say grass is tough enough to breakdance on. But, like, that's the sort of stuff you want to see. like, I mean, Jesus Christ. I would personally, I see France as. I lost you for a second. What? Imagine, did I cut across you? Did our timeline?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
you're back on.
You didn't, because you're frozen. Oh, there you are. Your eyes are moving. I thought you'd kicked the bucket there.
No, this is my resting bitch face. I didn't mean to turn it on the podcast. I didn't mean to. It's just standard.
Anyway, I don't. I'm going for a French win.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting huge amounts from England. They're still figuring out their way.
Yeah, I don't think England aren't expecting much from England at this stage. They're just like, oh, you know. So who have we in the pub here now? Who's in the pub here?
So I reckon that France is like the one with the Rolex.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Allowed to smoke in the bar, even though it's been banned for years, but they're allowed to smoke. No, they're smoking a really fancy looking vape in the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like one of those like cigarettes from the Moulin Rouge, like with the long.
Yeah. I actually see France as being, even though it's a men's team, I see France being a very attractive woman, but almost in a strong masculine way. Like, you wouldn't fight her at all if she turned on you. Like, you'd run in the other direction. Like, but for some reason, she runs the place. Like, she runs this town, if you know what I mean. Like, she runs that pub in her head, you know. And
there's like a seat. She has a seat.
Yes,
and no one ever sits in it.
Yeah. Matriarch. That's the word I was looking for. Matriarch.
Yeah.
Everybody respects her. A few people.
She could, and like some nights you don't know what you're going to get. You could come in and she could be like in flying form, or she could be just like raging at everyone.
I think, yeah. That's who I'm seeing.
She could throw her like a wad of cash down and be like, buy everyone a drink.
Yeah.
Or you never know what kind of side you couldn't get from her. And then if you look at England, like, I would say, I'm kind of picturing James Haskell.
Yeah, I see him as like, I see what he is. He's a rich daddy's son. He's in a Burberry gilet. But he's pretty much lost their entire portfolio, making a stupid investment in fidget spinners. Yeah, but yes, exactly. He's a Tory, but he made an investment of daddy's money without daddy knowing in like fidget spinners a year after they went out of fashion. Like, he's trying to get into Tamagotchis now and stuff like that, and he's just lost it all. But he's still trying to talk it up to his friends, because he has a credit card with quite a limit on it. But it's completely fucking, but he's still buying a couple of drinks for the lads. Probably, and I'm not suggesting this now, but I'm just talking about the kind of people I know. Probably not shy of doing a bump of coke either, of a key. But we're talking metaphorical here in a soap opera. That's who we're talking about, not actual players and not actual Jane Haskell. But, you know,
Yeah.
load of money
And there's
owed on
no
the
way
Range
he'd
Rover.
be taking the Welsh lad home.
Oh, no. Not a hope. Not a hope. She's probably going to, at some stage, get annoyed with him, walk through the group of him. He thinks he's on. He's like, oh, my God, she's eyeballing me. And she just backhands him for just being too loud. She just backhands him because it's one of those nights where she's just not in the fucking mood for it.
Yeah.
Just, and she walks over and
I think she'd
it's
also...
the Cork Arms.
She could
They're in the
also
Cork Arms. And she kicks the jukebox.
Arms.
And something class comes on. She doesn't even have to put money in.
Hey, sister, soul, sister. Well, that's not. I know that's not a French song, but
it is Moulin Rouge, though, isn't it? It is. Yeah, it works. It absolutely works.
Oh, that's Moulin Rouge. This is the song from Moulin Rouge. Yeah. Bit of Celine Dion. Okay, Ireland, Scotland.
Ireland, Scotland.
Time for the Lone Piper. Can't wait.
Yeah. Up there on the roof, health and safety, insane. Forget about it. Abseiling down, whatever. Hanging on to the pipes. Princess Anne, God bless her, they roll her out. Is she still on the go? I think she is she? In her tartan.
She loves rugby.
She fucking does. Sure, of course she does. She's got nothing else on the books. Like, they just pan through her books going, you're opening a creamery in Aberdeen. Grand. When's the fucking Six Nations starting? That's because that's really all I get to drink, smoke fags, and have the crack with rugby players. When's the Six Nations starting? So in Scotland and Ireland. So we before we come to who they are in the Cork Arms. I mean, we've said at the beginning this could be their banana skin. I'm starting to change my attitude a small bit. Weirdly, I think
quote from House of Rugby. So I don't know if
a banana skin.
Yes, that's
literally the name of our podcast has banana in it. So Lindsay Pete, back up the truck, girl. Maybe hand a few quid to Anna for using banana skins. I may fall on another skin. A kiwi skin would be equally as slippy. Not as funny or as cartoonish, but a kiwi skin would be...
Use a different fruit, Lindsay.
Step on a piece of onion. Fucking, you could snatch yourself an onion, okay?
That could be an onion peel. That could be an onion peel this weekend, you know?
I'm starting to change my opinion. I think the last time Scotland won... Now, I hate looking at stats from back in the... That's my opinion. The last time they won 3 games on the trot was like the 90s or something, which, okay, I'm not saying that it can't be a brand new year, wipe the slate clean. But I think there's a notion that it's all flying, and Braveheart and Mel Gibson is going to come flying up behind him on a horse with his face painted blue. And I don't think Ireland are going to wash with that shit at all. I think Ireland are going to fucking rinse them. And that's not to be a bastard about it, but I think Ireland are going to go, yeah, that's great. No, but watch this.
Yeah.
I you know, now I could be a complete bollocks because they did dominate for at least 45, 50 minutes of that French match, but I don't know. I don't see it going the way that I think England could be a right pain in the hole because they're England in the final game, but we won't get onto that just yet. We won't count our carrots before our chickens are drinking pints or whatever the phrase is. I don't know.
Yeah, excuse me. I foresee a good Irish victory as well.
I'm thinking two tries, like 2 tries ahead.
Yeah,
easy.
Me too. Especially kind of later on, I think there'll be like this kind of tension, like which we may have never kind of had from Scotland before. Do you know, we're like, oh God, are we really that scared of Scotland now? I think that the team is going to be like, no.
And not in a cocky way, just an absolute confidence in their own ability. Like, I mean,
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Not taking anything away from the individuals of Scotland and Finn, Gregor's son, Finn. Just in case anybody wasn't, go back to episode 2 where Anna made that huge discovery. Fact, come around as being fact that Gregor is in fact Finn's father. Hogg, you know, they got a Gilchrist, they got a couple of great players. Like their front row are the size of houses, but their front row will gas out. And the big thing is they don't have it on the bench. That's what it is for me. They don't have it on the bench.
That like Ireland has anyway.
Jesus Christ, like it's like when you think of the players that Ireland can't even get on the bench, you're like, oh,
I know.
God.
Yeah. They did start for Scotland.
They would. And that's, again, we'll have Scottish people because God knows, I will definitely put there will be a hashtag underneath this, Scotland getting rinsed by Ireland for the crack. So there will be Scottish people fuming.
Jeez,
but the reality
don't
is,
eat your haggis before it hatches.
Don't eat your haggis before your Mars bar is fried. Would you stop it?
I love a fried Mars bar.
They are class.
I'm actually just looking forward to it now because I hate this kind of 3-week lull in the middle of the stations.
I know.
It's so it's so frustrating. I just want the games to come back now. So I actually just looking forward to, and it's nice that game is on the Sunday. Well, personally for me, it's nice because we're playing on the Saturday.
Great.
So
yeah, I'm gigging twice throughout the day on Saturday, so I would have definitely missed it. I'm gigging for the under 20s Tipperary team, if you don't mind, in a private gig. I don't know.
Yeah.
It will be gas because it's not like being at a gig where everybody's different. It's literally 30 lads who are exactly carbon copies, the same age. They all have the same aspirations, and they're probably all studying the same thing in college. So it'll be an interesting. There won't be much crowd work, is what I'm saying. What do you say? Like, but yes, I'm very excited about it being on Sunday.
Oh, nice to hear about that. Yeah.
Your most exciting player that you picked on House of Rugby, Tyke Furlong, could be back, full of beans, full of orange spuds. Hasn't had much rugby in him, but at the same time, a fella like him, world class. Robbie Henshaw, world class.
Yeah, I'm just excited to. By all accounts, he will be kind of back and ready, and just excited to see him on the pitch because we not like we've missed him and needed him because anyone else stepped in there has done like such a great job. And
Finley Cornrows, like
injury, and so it's just a constantly moving picture. Like, this is rugby, this is the game. Like,
I love it.
And outs, players and ups and downs and ins and outs and all the rest. So it's
adding to the soap opera drama, right? So who are Scotland and Ireland in the pub? Who are they in the Cork Arms?
Sister Anne. Princess Anne.
Princess Anne, yes. So Scotland is Princess Anne.
I think so. Or Nicola Sturgeon.
No, Nicola Sturgeon doesn't strike me as being any crack. Scottish people tend to be crack. Do you know what? Nicola Sturgeon probably is a lunatic, savage crack out. But I'd say if you want to party with somebody, you want to be out with Anne. She has partied, like partied. You know she has.
Yeah. I'd say, I think that could be her in the pub, like, yeah.
She lets the beehive down, the old beehive hair down, and she's like,
and it looks like Hamish Watson's mullet.
Yeah.
The royal mullet, the royal Scottish mullet. I love it. He's an animal as well. He'll be playing this weekend, I'd say.
He's a different breed. He should not be as strong as he is.
Love him.
He's class.
Him. He was brilliant for Edinburgh there against Leinster at the weekend. But he'll be one to watch. But he's only come back from injury as well. However, in terms of like in the pub, their team is kind of like they're sound and they're up for a laugh, and like when they lose or if they lose, they're kind of like so she's like give me a pint.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be
join in the sing song, and she'll get out she'll do a bit of a Kaylee and join
like
in.
If there was nobody else in the pub and she showed up, you'd be like, Grant, class, Anne's here. Yeah, class, Anne's here. She probably has fucking mini bagpipes inside in the handbag. She's like, 12 pints in, she's standing on the seat. You know what I mean? With her lovely her lovely tweed Harris tweed kilt tied to her head, and she's playing Flower of Scotland badly, but you're loving it all the same. You're like, Jesus Christ, you should go professional, Anne. You should go professional, because that they should have you on the roof, Anne. Fucking playing.
Yeah, maybe it was her. Did I tell you about? I think I told you this story. Kind of don't know what stories I've told to what people, but about the bagpipes lesson we got in the Cork Hour in Limerick once.
No, you never get no.
Oh, sorry.
In the Cork Hour?
Sorry.
Right.
The Cork Hour, yeah, we were in there before. It was actually I could have been Edinburgh. It was either Edinburgh or Glasgow. It was like a Celtic League game in Limerick, so kind of a small Munster crowd. Me and a few of my friends are going up, and I don't know if it was before or after the match. It doesn't actually matter, but there was lads in there with bagpipes inside the Cork Hour, like playing away. And my friend Rosie was like, "Can I have a go?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, of course." And he's like, hung him off her shoulders and like dressed her up, and she like went to have a go with the bagpipes, and she was like, and was like emptying her lungs. There's no sound coming out, and all the Scottish lads standing back like laughing, holding their pints, and like your man came over and he was like, "Blow from your fanny."
I'm pretty sure he'd wanted fucking washed it after that if she flipped from.
No,
Have you a wet wipe?
I think he meant like,
Oh, from your soul. Right. I was thinking,
that's how I interpreted it anyway, because if you can't do it with the lips on your face, you're not going to be able to do it with any other lips.
I think we just found. I think we just found our clip for this week's podcast.
People think we're going to think we're massive perverts. That'll know. We can't do it again, because that'll be the second clip about Fanny.
Everybody is a pervert, Anna. I literally gig to hundreds of people a week, and your average person is a
pervert.
100, and everybody's a bit of a pervert. Everybody is. Everybody loves a shit joke, a dick joke. They all are perverts. All of them. Everybody is a pervert. They just don't want to admit it out loud on a podcast, and that's just the way it is. Look, it's the reality. Ireland in the pub. Ireland in the pub. Who is Ireland? Come on now. This is Keith Earls. Keith Earls. Yeah.
That's what it is, I'd say.
Yeah. Because Keith and Anne get on class, I'd say. They get on class. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's good for a sing-song too. Like, he'll just be like, "Saturday Holmes," and like the whole pub will go quiet.
The whole pub will just start crying nearly straight away, like, because you're like, this is a guy from Actual My Ross singing about it. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is unreal. Yeah. Keith Earls, where he's handing out free coffees to lads as well. Jesus Christ, because yeah.
But he's a little bit like quietly confident, like.
Oh yeah.
So the others are a bit like, they all really like him, but they're still a bit like, oh, here he is.
Yeah. Yeah, there he is. He could literally beat any one of us with one hand tied behind his back. God, I'd love to hate him, but I can't hate him. It's Keith Earls. I can't hate him. He's actually one of the soundest skins that has ever played the game. Shit. How is he so good? How is he so good? Like, he's in here supping pints with the rest of us. Like, he doesn't have anything. What the hell is it? And that was a perfect summation. Nobody could work out how Keith Earls was so fast. How he's, perfect. Perfect. And everybody loves Keith Earls. Like, everybody loves Keith Earls. There's nobody. Keith Earls' book, one of the few books I've read. You have many, many books. I have the Keith Earls book. That's about it.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
There's pictures in it. I used to remember like all the lads driving into, the Munster lads would be driving into the Munster High Performance Centre, like when I was living in UL, or even, I don't know, in UL, I can't remember, but he'd always be cycling in.
Yeah.
Hood up on his bike. Yeah.
Like
across the city.
Of course.
He'd cycle down to the pub. And he'd leave his bike outside.
Class. That's a perfect depiction of Ireland. It's Keith Earls. Brilliant. Well, you have jock socks, headbands, and everything to pack up. You're heading back to Spania at the weekend. Are you playing this weekend again?
Yeah,
And,
Saturday. Yeah, we're playing against Coco de Rios de Sevilla,
oh, Jesus
who are top of the
Christ.
table.
Say that again.
So they're
You're
coming up.
playing against who?
Coco de Rios de Sevilla.
Oh my
So
God.
crocodiles, basically, from Seville. Name of the team.
Crocodiles.
The crocodiles, yeah.
One of my other
Coco de
Irish
Rios.
favorite Irish words is the Irish for crocodile, which is cruggle. I just love it. It makes it sound like a way more adorable animal than an actual crocodile. But cruggle.
Yeah.
Cruggle. Isn't that an
Oh,
adorable word, isn't it?
the crocodiles from Seville. Will be up
Yeah. On
Saturday.
Cruggles. Mighty. So brilliant stuff. Everybody, thank you so much for getting in contact, albeit the snippy ones and all the rest of us. Shout out to our abroad people, whatnot that have been. If it is your first time listening, please do hit subscribe. Hit the bell as well so that it turns up in your phone every single week. If you can give us the 5 stars, please do. And less than that, we can't actually work with your critique. If you go, I'm going to say maybe 2. There's literally nothing we can do with that critique. We're going to stay doing it exactly as we're doing it. So 5 stars if you're feeling sound. Anna Capeless, Banana Capeless on all the usual platforms. And I'm Tom O'Mahony Comedy on all the other usual platforms. We're back again next week. We'll have we didn't even talk about what we had started talking about, the reason why we started the podcast, but that'll do next week as to who my school principal was and all the rest of it, to tell about where I'm from and the madness of the area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
Wait. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
We're wrapping up, and people. And you have to
got a
go.
boot in the head. What? You got a boot.
You got a boot. You got a boot. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm not well. Anyway,
This is a preview for it. People won't tune in again. They'll be like,
I love the fact that there are people in
around the world.
France, we have people in the Emirates listen to this going, I haven't a fucking clue what I've said for the past hour, but it sounds nice. It sounds nice.
I hope both teams are enjoying themselves.
We welcome any retorts to any of the mad shit we came out about in relation to your teams in the pub. If you have, maybe you want to give a depiction of who you think the teams are in the pub, maybe club teams, who are they in the pub on the night out? Please do get in contact. I told you where to find us. Other than that, for me, it's a good look. And from Anna, it is a
Happy International Women's Day.
Yes! Happy International Women's Day.
It's the Banana and Bears Rugby Podcast.